Everybody up, we're going on vacation. Car leaves at 6 a.m. sharp.
Ow, fuck! You blow that fucking horn again, I swear to God, I will ram that fucking thing up your goddamn ass!
I'm the king of the world.
I'm sorry, Jane is sorry. I could have been killed. He's wearing a wire.
What? You son of a...
You are a valued member of our business team, and I will give you a raise tomorrow if you come to work without a shirt on.
Mr. Griffin!
I'm sorry, that came out wrong. Let me try again. Nice ass.
It is safe to say that one of the most popular and one of the most recognizable adult animated shows out there is Family Guy, a show that first aired in 1999 and is still going to this day despite 2 different cancellations in its early years.
And hopefully we won't get canceled for 2.5 years in the middle again.
I don't think giving a description of the show is necessary, but to make it quick, take The Simpsons and make it 5 times more batshit insane.
Why, you big... Bart, go to your room.
I'm out of here.
You're a stupid man! A stupid man!
Ow, you're hurting me. Stop it, Lois. Are you little?
Hi, Dad.
So why am I talking about Family Guy in a Lost Media Junkie video? Well, the original pilot of Family Guy is partly lost as only about half of it is available to the public and it's pretty interesting to look at. The pilot came about in the late 90s after Fox gave Seth MacFarlane only $50,000 to make a pilot episode, which to give some perspective is a fraction what animated shows normally get for their pitch pilots. It was also co-created by a man named Jim Keeshan, who tried to take all the credit for said pilot and even went as far as to sue both Fox and Seth MacFarlane due to that. But the case was thrown out by December 2000. Anyways, the pilot itself is literally just the first episode of Family Guy, Death Has a Shadow, but minus all the welfare fraud stuff. But the most interesting part to me is how different this pilot looks from the show we got. The animation in general looks pretty off for starters, but the character designs is where the major differences come into play. For starters, Lois has blonde hair and a pink shirt instead of her normal red hair and teal shirt, which gives more of a reason why Chris is blonde, as it comes off weird in the regular show when he is the only blonde in the family. Speaking of Chris, he seems to have had the least changes aside from Brian, but the main difference is his voice, as it sounds more like a surfer dude.
Thou shalt get drunk. Yeah.
Both Stewie and Meg's differences is the color of their clothes, with Meg wearing a blue hat and white shirt instead of her pink attire, and Stewie wearing a purple shirt and green overalls instead of his usual yellow shirt and red overalls. And then there's Peter, who seems to not have had that many changes, but he has a bigger nose and thicker glasses. Aside from that though, the pilot feels like Family Guy, albeit with worse audio and worse animation, but still has that Family Guy feel. One of the only other differences I feel worth pointing out is Mr. Weed's voice is drastically different.
Peter, are you sleeping on the job?
What the... Oh, hi, Mr. Weed.
Peter!
What the...
Are you sleeping on the job?
And fun fact, in this pilot, Mr. Weed is voiced by Butch Hartman. Yes, that Butch Hartman, who was, and might still be, I am not sure, good friends with Seth MacFarlane, hence why he was in the pilot. Now something else that's interesting is that this pilot isn't where the origins of Family Guy starts. For that, we need to go back a few more years to 1995, the Seth MacFarlane's thesis project in college, The Life of Larry. The Life of Larry was a roughly animated piece created by Seth MacFarlane when he was in college, as previously mentioned. It's basically Family Guy, but instead of the characters we know, it is instead stars a man named Larry, who is basically Peter, and even shares the same voice.
Oh, yes, I don't know, it's some kind of like space jerky or something, I guess.
You pass me the ore, N-word, Jim?
It also stars his wife Lois, who is, well, Lois.
No shit!
And his son Milt, who is obviously Chris, and his dog Steve, who is like Brian. Meg and Stewie got the shaft on this one. Life of Larry was much like the pilot due to sharing similarities to the first episode of Family Guy, as it is where some of the jokes from said episode and some other early episodes originated.
Reginald? I disagree.
Reginald?
I disagree.
I got it, that's the guy from Big. Tom Hanks, that's his name. Oh, funny guy, Tom Hanks. Let me tell you, I've seen him in other stuff. Listen, anything that comes out of that guy's mouth, you know it's gonna be a stitch.
I have AIDS.
I got it, that's the guy from Big. Tom Hanks, that's it. Ah, funny guy, Tom Hanks. Everything he says is a stitch.
I have AIDS.
One main difference though is some insert clips at the start and end of the thesis of Seth himself, and honestly some of the worst video quality I've ever seen. Like, I get this was the mid-90s, but even with that in mind, the quality could have been at least a little better. These clips though are kind of charming and even a little funny in their own right. It's just Seth introducing the show we're about to see while getting constantly interrupted by his butler.
Wang, for the love of Christ. You're in America now. Use a napkin.
But it is done in the most Seth way possible, and it's surprisingly funny. Honestly, the whole thesis itself is pretty decent for having little to no budget, and definitely has a charm to it. So, you would think this is where the life of Larry would end, and Seth would just repackage it and pitch it to Fox as Family Guy. But my friends, you're wrong, as the life of Larry nearly became a kid's show on Cartoon Network.
Say what?
In the late 90s, Seth took the life of Larry and gave it a massive animation upgrade, ditched the wife and son, and renamed the show Larry and Steve, and it actually aired on Cartoon Network as a part of Cartoon Network's What a Cartoon. What a Cartoon was an anthology show that ran from 1995 to 1997 and consisted of animated shorts and launched pretty much the classic era of Cartoon Network by being the starting point for Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and the Powerpuff Girls. Cartoon Network's golden age literally would not have existed if it wasn't for this show. Sadly for Larry and Steve though, the show didn't get the same love, as after the short aired, the show was never picked up for a full series, but that would eventually lead to the Family Guy pilot we talked about earlier, and then to the start of Seth's biggest and most well-known series that he has ever created. In other words, the life of Larry walked so that Family Guy could run. So back to the pilot. The likelihood of it ever being fully found is very slim, as the only reason these 7 minutes are public is because it was a special feature on the Season 2 DVD, meaning that Fox most likely has a copy archived somewhere, and that the only way this pilot will ever be fully found is if Fox themselves release it, and I honestly hope they do. Yes, it's cheesy and low budget and has its problems, but it is a part of both animation and television history, and should be able to be seen by the public. Honestly, this would probably be good if it was released on Disney Plus, either under Family Guy's episodes, or as its own thing similar to the recent Simpsons shorts. And that is where this video ends. I hope everyone watching enjoyed it, and I hope you stick around for more. If you're new here and would like to see more content like this, then like this video and hit the subscribe button. Also, comment down below what you think of the video, as the more engagement my videos get, the better. And lastly, if you want a shout out at the end of all of our videos like our super patron Ryan Smith, then click the link down below to check out our Patreon. We recently added a new fan recommendation tier, where you can get a guaranteed video done on whatever you want, and you will also receive every other perk I got to offer. Anyways, I gotta go now, take care.